Welcome back to part 2 of our conversation with designated drinker, founder, and CEO of Harridan Vodka, Bridgett Taylor. So if you've missed part 1, go back and belly up to that bar and give it a listen first. We promise to save a seat right here for you, don't we, Gina?
Absolutely, right next to us.
Yep. Well, they don't want to miss your tip.
Absolutely. So you're going to learn about tart versus sour, and they are not the same things, and one can come from the other, but they can't just exist.
There we go. All right. So, like you said, you don't want to miss part 1 for that. So, also in part 1, Bridgette, you shared your journey that led us to your conjuring, like that, of Harridan Vodka, and how COVID actually pushed you into a different space that you didn't quite expect. But before we go any further, I'd love for you to make sure our listeners know just a little bit more about your downright spooky good liquid.
I love it. So I am a whiskey lover. I am a gin lover. I am a tequila and mezcal lover. Vodka never stood out to me as something that I could really enjoy sipping on its own, like I could those other spirits. So Harridan is designed to be a sipping vodka that captures layers of flavor and complexity that are so celebrated in other spirits. So it's 88 proof, it's only twice distilled, and it's unfiltered. And so it's something that you can just pour on the rocks and sip on its own, and it is just absolutely delightful.
Awesome. And this, to your point, plays well in with the tip that you offered, right? The corn base, all the notes that come into this vodka.
Yes, and then we're going to get to the cocktail in a little bit, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. So we got the understanding of what's the everyday bottle of Harridan. Let's jump in and talk about your paranormal reserve, shall we?
Oh, yes. My favorite thing to talk about.
Wait to hear about this,
the
Gina. This is
paranormal
awesome.
reserve.
This is awesome.
This time of year, it's like, all I can think about is drinking some vodka with some ghosts and demons in it. So it's very
Spirit with spirits.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
what makes it? What is the process of making your paranormal reserve?
So we start off with just our classic Harridan vodka liquid in our classic Harridan vodka bottles. And then we find some of the most haunted places in the country. And we bring all of that Harridan to those establishments. And then we let them rest or age, if you will, in those locations to really absorb the spirits or demonic energy that those locations might contain. And so some of the places that we've partnered with the farm on Round Hill Road, which inspired the Conjuring movies. We partnered with the Occult Museum, which houses Annabelle, the demonic doll, as well as the Villisca Axe Murder House and the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. So these are some of the most notoriously haunted places in the country.
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
That is crazy.
I love that, though. Do they get a different label, or do you put a label on the bottom?
So we do a totally different label. And then we also, every year, it comes in a special limited edition wooden box. And so last year for our Annabelle collection, the wooden box had a Ouija board on the lid, and it came with a little planchette so you could try to communicate with your bottle if you wanted.
And that's amazing.
I know.
And then this year, the theme, every year we have a little theme that goes with the haunted bottle of vodka. This year, the theme is Haunted Hotel. And so, Louise, your opening was perfect talking about some of the most haunted hotels in the U.S. because we have rested 350 bottles of our paranormal reserve in 2 of the most haunted hotels in the country. One is the Crescent Hotel and Spa in Arkansas, which has a very morbid and now very haunted, a very morbid past and now a very haunted present. And then the Anderson Hotel in Kentucky, which allegedly is so haunted that now not even ghost hunters can really stay there overnight because it is proclaimed as too dangerous.
Wow.
Where
is that?
In Kentucky.
Wow.
I believe in the 20 years that it was open, more than a dozen people died in that location.
Wow.
And they still roam the halls.
Wow, that's like that hotel in LA what's it called?
The one that the 13th
yeah,
floor one.
yeah,
I don't remember the name of it. Yeah. Well, interesting when Bridget and I were talking the other day, and she told me about this haunted hotel in Arkansas. Well, I used to live there, in Little Rock, and I had a client in Hot Springs, and there's a hotel there that's notorious. Had a lot of gangsters at one point because horse racing was there. There was a lot of during Prohibition, oddly enough, but that it's Little Rock or Hot Springs, Arkansas. And I stayed in this hotel, and I kid you not, Gina, I was telling Bridget, photos moved. They had all these old photos from like all black, white, really cool. But it wouldn't move like after somebody came in to clean the room or whatnot. I'd literally be in the room, like, because we were on set, and one day my shoot was canceled because it's pissing down rain. There's nothing to do. It's Hot Springs, Little Rock, or Hot Springs, Arkansas. I was working on something. I went to the bathroom and came out. All the pictures were moved. And not a little. They were like skewed different directions because I didn't like the way they were facing. So I had faced them. Of course, I'm an art director. I'd face the photos and they would move. And then that was the first time I was like, And I always felt something in that room. I felt a lot in that room. And when I was washing my face once, I was telling Bridget this, I was washing my face after a day of shooting, and I didn't want to open my eyes because I didn't want to look into the mirror because I knew somebody was standing behind me. And I just said, I'm just here to stay a short while. I will leave soon. I didn't know what else. It was there. And then I slowly opened my eyes.
Oh my God, I can't have that.
But I just was hoping maybe it was the same hotel, but it was not. But it was.
That's so scary. You should tell Dave to stop doing that to you. Be like, Dave, you fuck, if you're going to visit me, at least tell me you're coming.
Well, we know that's not true because, Dave Solis didn't go to Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Oh my God, I just got chills. Like,
I know.
Me too. Oh, I don't like that story.
Oh my God, I hate that. I wouldn't open my eyes either.
My thing was nothing. It all felt benign. So it was but it was an experience. It did startle me, just the washing my face thing, and that might be the movies and all the things. But yeah, but I'm not afraid of.
I can guess.
A cocktail.
Done. Let's go do that.
All right.
We're gonna make a sour cocktail, and a true sour cocktail is sour, right? I know, it's just the stupidest thing to say to somebody. I think that we confuse in the cocktail world sour versus tart, and tart is 99% of your cocktails. Sour cocktails are like 1% of the cocktails, right? So when someone calls something like a Collins, and they're like, oh, it's a sour Collins, do you know what sour means? Sour is like, tart is like peppy, and it's got citrus and a little bit of sugar. And sour is, my mouth is drenched and rounded. It's like that really dry Cabernet gives a sour taste in your mouth, right? So we're gonna create that sour taste using something so crazy as sour cream in our cocktail. Really, really random, right? All right, so what we're gonna do is a little something different, right? We're gonna take watermelon, and we are going to put it in the bottom of our shaker tin. And we're making 2 drinks at once. So normally I would just put in a few pieces, but we're gonna put 4 pieces instead of, and they're larger, so I would probably say it's around 4 ounces of sour cream. And you're gonna use, for this drink, about a half a bar spoon of sour cream per drink. We're gonna use 1 bar spoon. So if you're at home and you're wondering what 1 bar spoon is, 1 heaping bar spoon would be like a rounded off tablespoon, right? This doesn't require a ton of sour cream. Don't overdo it. If you overdo it, you're not gonna like the drink. You're gonna be like, this girl is insane. All right, so you have that in there, right? And now we're just gonna muddle it for a second. And you're incorporating that sour cream in there, right? We're not making a cake. So just so we're clear, do not stir this. I just want you to muddle it. So what you're doing is taking the watermelon, and instead of making it something that's sweet, you're going to turn it into something very sour. And now it has this really pretty pink, milky texture. So if you want to do this ahead of time, you could, and you could take your sour cream and your watermelon and have it strained off and keep it in your refrigerator if you're going to do a party. And one reason why I picked watermelon at this time of year, which you're like, why are you doing watermelon? I know, global warming is not real, but global warming is totally real, and you're getting melons later in the season. But the melons right now at this time of year have a sour component to them, and they're like almost overripe. and they're really delicious. And you can use any melon that you find. So if you're like, you know, I don't know, you're upstate New York and you're, you know, getting heavy on the cantaloupes, like that's totally fine. So now we're gonna add 1 ounce of lemon juice. So right now you have, again, the watermelon, sour cream, lemon juice, right? You're like, what are you making, a salad dressing? Pretty much. Now we're gonna add, instead of bitters to this drink, we're gonna add 2 dashes of white balsamic vinegar, right? We have 2 drinks in there, so 2 dashes, right? If you don't know, can't do a dash, take out your bar spoon, measure 1 bar spoon for your 2 dashes. Don't add more than that, you will ruin the drink, right? So, very complicated today, which I feel like I'm conjuring this cocktail together. Well, now we need to add the main, you know, the show. So we're gonna add 1.5 ounces of the Harridan Vodka. So again, we're making 2 cocktails. So I'm putting in 3 ounces. And then finally, so you don't choke to death, we're going to add 1 ounce of simple syrup. And that is gonna bring that sour down just a little bit so you're not like just like dying. Okay, so if you see what you have in there, you have this like crazy mixture. It looks wild. You're like, this is gonna be weird. It's not gonna be weird. It's gonna be delicious. So we're gonna go ahead and pre-pour some ice into our Collins glasses. Because once this is done, you really want to drink it. It's just really beautiful and sour and has this like really nice complexity and just really great. All right, so everything's in there. We're gonna hard shake. All right, see, beautiful froth. Can you see that? That pretty froth? So it's nice and pink, it's beautiful. This is where the next flavor of this, right? So you're gonna double strain because what you don't want is any chunks in your drink. I mean, I don't know, maybe you want some chunks in your drink. I don't like salad cocktails. I like them nice and clean. There we go. It takes a little time to pour this drink, and this is the reason why craft cocktails are better than regular cocktails, because they take time and they are worth it. All right, so you're about halfway down your Collins glass and you're going to fill the rest with a little bit of club soda. So these glasses are a little bit bigger than I normally would use, so what we're gonna do is make sure we don't put too much club soda in there. Just top it off. Really beautiful. And we're going to garnish this with a lemon. So pretty, right? It looks like milk almost, but it's like totally not. I love it. I love this time of year. It's my favorite time of year. Like when all the things don't exactly seem like how they should be. And yet they are. And just because I have really beautiful garnishes today, we're gonna use something a little bit different in there. Sometimes, you know, use what you have at home. I always say this, you have like mint growing in your garden and it's really lovely, then put it in there and use it. If it's what you wanna use, you have lavender, you have something there, you wanna steal it from your friend, you saw it in the grocery store and you thought, oh my gosh, that could be really beautiful. It probably is. If you think it's beautiful, it probably is beautiful, so just use it. And sometimes a little over garnish is really okay. So there we go. And I think it's quite lovely. So cheers.
Gina, this is not, it's beautiful, yes, but it's really, really good. The sour, I would have never thought of putting sour cream. I mean, that's why you're the mixtress DC, Gina, and I am not. Put sour cream with watermelon and vodka, it's amazing.
First of all, I love using the vinegar, the sour cream, and like a fruit component. You could do with anything tubular. Also like squash would work, pumpkin, cucumber, that kind of thing would work with it. I might go a little bit more delicate and use like a creme fraiche, which is like, it has a little bit more acidity, but it is sour, and it's like a French sour cream, in case you don't know what creme fraiche is. It is not sour cream. It's not exactly the same. It's closer to a yogurt. It's like in between the two, which is so insane to think that there's like so many layers to sour cream. One thing that you could do, right? One thing, and I mentioned this before, you can make this juice, do the watermelon, the sour cream, and your lemon juice earlier ahead of time if you're gonna have like a large amount of people over and you don't wanna be like stuck there making them per drink, I like to make cocktails for myself, though. You know, over my husband. So like, I would just use some of the ingredients I have at home and just do that.
It's interesting.
If you love salts, you can add a pinch of salts. And I recommend, yeah.
Gina, question for you on the balsamic. Difference use in cocktails, white versus brown balsamic. I've been using brown balsamic in my cocktails, and now have I been doing it all wrong? Should I only be using white balsamic?
No, you haven't been doing it all wrong. I hate, this is what I hate, right? I hate when you have this beautiful cocktail color, right? Pink. And then I'm like, I want to use balsamic vinegar in there. And then I put in there brown balsamic, right? Yeah. And then bam, the whole cocktail looks like mud, right? So you spend all this time to make it beautiful, and then you have to, so it's the same thing with white wine vinegar, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you're making like a salad recipe, right? And you have this beautiful, you know, I don't know, cucumber salad with like feta cheese, whatever, and then you use red wine vinegar. And then now the cheese turned pink. Yeah. And like, you're like, oh, it's just, what a waste of time. So that's when you want to use the white, right? And then, but the white balsamic is a little more tart than, and I said the word tart because it is more sugar to it, right? Yeah. We learned the difference, sour and tart. Then the balsamic, the balsamic's definitely sweeter.
Yeah.
So you want to be just careful, like how much you use. That's why I said, if you don't know how to dash from your bottle, no problem, measure with the bar spoon. And, you know, you don't have to like worry about it. And again, it's all to taste, right? Mm-hmm. If you hate vinegar, don't put it in there. You know?
But you know, it's interesting you say that. I don't, it's not like you taste the vinegar. It's not vinegar forward.
No.
It's really, I mean, it's really round. I do love the fact that you put little watermelon wedges in the top of my my glass, because it makes me think of little witches' hats, which is a perfect, because it's Harridan. So you like little tiny little witch hats on top.
I love that. Little witch hat. Amazing.
I love...
If Barbie were a witch, she would be wearing watermelon witch hats.
I can't even with the pink right now. I love it. I love it. My kids are like, Mom, everything's pink. I'm like, I love it.
Well, I think it's kind of funny. You took like this Harridan bottle, which you talked, the branding is kind of dark and mystic, and you know, like and then we made a really beautiful pink drink with it.
And maybe that's the name. If Barbie were a witch. There we go. Witch Barbie.
That's your summer edition.
But again, you want to use the melons this time of year. You want those October melons. So again, whatever's available to you, use them. They're almost on the cusp of being sour. Like, they're not good.
Let me ask you this. Could you use, like, you know, you've used other melons in the past. I love talking about your melons. And do you see what I'm doing with my hands when it's like your melons? That's really, I'm really, could you use some of the yellow melons?
You can use, like, really, any of the melons would work. Like, you're talking about the Santa Claus melons?
Yes.
So, like, Santa Claus melons would work. Any of the honeydews, you know, anything would work. But it's this time of year. It's like that first, like, 2 weeks of October, right when, like, you know, our last little allegedly, you know, they call it the Indian summer in September, but it goes all the way now to November, right?
Yeah.
So you're getting these last lick melons on the vines, and they're really great. And like, I'll be honest with you, if you have your own farm, or you're near a farm, or you're upstate New York or something like that, right? And you could get a melon that has been on the vine during the first frost, and then you get it.
Oh.
And you make it with this, now we're talking spectacular. Like, you're taking something that would be like amazing to spectacular, but like, in order to do that, you really have to know the farmer. You have to say, I'm gonna buy all 50 of these watermelons or whatever they have, and like, let it go to first frost, and then you're gonna take it, juice it, and then have this sour liquid.
Does the watermelon get all mealy then? Like, it's not something you'd want to eat, but something you'd want
No,
to
you
juice?
juice it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's something you juice.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I always juice my watermelons when
But you would take them right away. So that night they freeze, that morning you're juicing them.
Wow.
That's what I say at first frost. And not like you let them warm up again during that sun. No, you just take them right off that morning. So same concept of making like ice wines and stuff, right? Nice. You're waiting for the first frost.
So before we go any further, Gina, we got to do our housekeeping. Where are they going to go to get this recipe?
You're going to go to designateddrinker.show for the recipe, and you can follow you can go on Instagram for the tip and like talking about you know, what's the difference between tart and sour. And in general, if you have any questions, DM us. Like, I love the questions. Please send me some questions.
Yep. Absolutely.
Communicate with me. I don't know why.
Otherwise, she's going to get a Ouija board out.
I know, but like I'll get, but go to Designated Drinker and communicate me with there on Instagram and not just on my personal, because a lot of times they send it to me and I'm like, oh no, we'll just do it through there. Anyway, either way, we'll get you the answers.
Yep. And then the other thing we're going to do is make sure our episode notes include all of those links to our website, to Insta, all those things. And the other thing we're going to do is make sure we have a link to Harridan Vodka, because it's not, if you can't get it at your local store, don't worry. She'll send it, Bridgette will send it right to your house.
I think it's even better.
You know, what I heard is she actually delivers it on a broom personally. She flies
That'd
around
be
the
fucking
country.
amazing. Listen, if drone delivery ever becomes a thing, you have to dress up the drone as a witch and then have it drop a bottle.
As a witch.
I mean, literally.
Tape a little broomstick on there.
I'm so ready to live in Jetsonstown where drones bring my groceries to my like 90th window in like New York City.
Yeah.
But
My Roomba is named Rosie.
of course, perfect. It's a great name. It's a fabulous name, really.
Yeah. All right. I think this brings us to our last question, Gina. It's all you.
Okay, so this was inspired by this morning, by the way. I know, this is like such a funny thing. So, you know, in this day and age, everybody has like a spirit animal they identify with, right? If you were to identify with, like, say, a newt, right? Because you needed the eyes for your witchcraft. If you can identify yourself, and that I don't think you're a newt. I would like to know if you. That's how I know if you're listening to the show before. If you were a spirit ingredient, right? What would your ingredient like be that would describe you and your spirit?
Ooh, spirit ingredient.
So you're not actually the newt. What I'm asking is, give me an ingredient. It could be for food. It could be for cocktails. It doesn't have to. It's just like. It could be one of those things. You could be like, I love watermelon because whatever.
Okay.
I am watermelon.
I am watermelon.
All right.
I am lamp.
This is the first thing that came to mind, but now I feel like I can spin an explanation behind it. So it would be milk. I love milk punch. And I also love the history behind milk punch, as it was one of the first cocktails in the United States, and people would travel around to different taverns and try the milk punch of that tavern. So it's also a very historical cocktail. And as I mentioned, I was a history major. So I would say something weird and maybe not what people would expect, milk.
Perfect.
We've never had milk.
We never had milk, but that makes it a really great thing. Also, what did they do when they put all that booze in it? And they soured the milk. They got the whey. So it all works.
There we go.
It
Perfect.
totally works. Well, thank you.
I didn't say lemon. That was
cheers.
specific. So milk.
Well, cheers.
Cheers.
To Bridgette,
Cheers.
to all your success, and I thank you for this lovely liquid. It is truly a great vodka. So thank you.
It's been awesome to be on the show and chat with you guys, and I look forward to making this amazing recipe and drinking it myself. It's unbelievable.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The Designated Drinker Show is produced by Missing Link, a Latino-owned, strategy-driven, creatively fueled production co-op. From ideation to creation, we craft human connections through intelligent, engaging, and informative content. Also in the Missing Link lineup of podcasts is Roger That, a podcast dedicated to guiding you through the haze of dementia, led by skilled caregivers. Now, if you're looking for a whole new way to enjoy the theater, check out Between Acts, an immersive audio theater podcast experience. Each episode takes you on a spellbinding journey through the works of newfound playwrights, from dramas to comedies and everything in between. Find Missing Link's League of Podcasts on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And while you're there, please don't forget to follow, download, and review the shows. Your reviews help our shows reach new audiences. To find out more about Missing Link, visit missinglink.company. That's missinglink.company.